It's time to begin. I think it's April 12th, 2025, so this is time for our spring event. This is a pretty big political event. If you go to a lot of them, most of them are about half this size. So it seems that Steve Scheffler and his organization have some idea of how to interact with people, and you have some idea about Iowa politics and great things for the state and the nation. So the first thing we're going to do, we have a nice building here. The fellow that owns it's a guy named David Barker. He's the treasurer of the Republican State Central Committee. He's on the Board of Regents. He owns this building and about half of other buildings in the state, I think. But the big thing is, David Barker is our friend.
Thank you, Kane. I appreciate that. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9 says, "And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart." President Trump is doing good, and we must not lose heart. But solving long-term problems that others have ignored for too long can sometimes cause short-term disruptions. Markets fluctuate, and some around us might lose heart or nerve. But America is finally on a good path. Every day brings new reasons for optimism as we see the amazing things that he and his team are accomplishing. Last month, I was in the White House and other offices in Washington and saw for myself the level of professionalism, focus, and determination that characterize his administration. I was proud to tell them about all of our accomplishments in Iowa, and I think tonight is an appropriate night to be grateful to Governor Reynolds for everything that she has done over the years for Iowa. Think of all of those accomplishments: defending life, cutting taxes, running budget surpluses, expanding school choice, many others, and one that I helped to bring about, the elimination of DEI at our public universities. Well, thank you. So we are gathered here in my building tonight, and I'm happy to let you know that I am donating the entire building cost back to Iowa Faith and Freedom. Steve Scheffler and his team have built the most effective political organization in Iowa, and I thank you for supporting it. Welcome to the Horizon Event Center.
Thank you, friend. And now, Pastor Jerry Eck, New Hope Christian Church, Marshalltown, will lead us in the opening prayer.
Would you pray with me? Our eternal Father in heaven, the God who revealed himself to Abraham as the great provider, Jehovah Jireh, God who revealed himself to Moses as the great I am, and the God to whom we can call Abba, Father. Thank you for blessing us, each of us, all of us, exceedingly abundantly above anything that we deserve, God. Forgive us when we take those blessings for granted. We are privileged to live in this great country, and we thank you, but with every privilege comes a responsibility, and I pray that you would use us, we who are called by your name, God, that you would use us to return us back to the values, the foundation that our country was built upon. We love you. We pray for Israel. We pray for God, peace even here We ask, God, that you would be part of this event here tonight, that your presence would guide us, that the food, the fellowship, and everything would bring you the glory that you deserve. And God, would you bring about a revival here amongst us? And I pray that your kingdom would come to here on earth even as it exists in heaven. May your light shine through us this evening. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
And now, former State Representative Luana Stoltenberg will lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance.
You all stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Senator Sherry Lynn Restrich will lead us in the Star-Spangled Banner.
Thank you.
You do good.
I will try. We'll see what happens. God bless the great state of Iowa, and God bless America. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Wow, you did great.
sir. Thank you.
Representative Martin Grabber died at age 72, a great conservative from Fort Madison, District 100. Very sad, but fond memories. Please include Martin in your prayers, and let's have a minute of silence for his memory. All right, thank you very much, my friends. Now we're going to, as Steve will come up, we are going to introduce some people. He's on his way. Right in front of you. Second row. Okay. Well, let's start out. We're going to introduce, if you'll stand up when we say your name, these are state senators and state representatives, people that do a lot of good work for us. So let's start with Kevin Iowans. It's going to be hard to find everybody, so if you'll please stand up. Doug Campbell, State Senator Doug Campbell. Lynn Evans, State Senator. Julian Garrett, longtime state senator and great friend. Mike Pike. David Rowley. Ken Rosenblum. Sandy Salmon. Sherilyn Restrich. Your turn.
He's here.
Just keep going, down to there.
Okay, State Representative Helena Hayes, Steve Holt, Shannon Latham, Carter Nordman, Charlie Thompson, David Young.
Eddie Andrews, Brett Barker, David Bloom, Jane Bloomingdale, Brooke Bowden, yay, John Dunwell, Samantha Fett, Dean Fisher, Dan Gelbeck, Tom Gerhold, Cindy Golding, Bill Gustav. Yours is next.
I don't think these people are here, though.
Okay, read them anyway.
Sam Wengren, Mike Sexton, Matthew Rinker, Josh Meggers, Barb Knief McCullough, Christian Hermanson, Judd Lawler, Shannon Lundgren.
I don't think we missed anybody, but if we did, we're sorry, and I'm sure there are a couple of others that have come. If they'll call it to our attention, we'll see that you're properly introduced as the program goes on. So, yeah. The next thing is veterans. Not veterinarians, but this is people that have been in the military. We honor veterans. I'm proud to be one. There are a lot in the room. So if the veterans would please stand so we can say hello. Okay. The Iowa Faith and Freedom Coalition board members. Steve Scheffler, stand up, Steve. We'll have everybody stand up. Steve is the president. Bernie Hayes is the chairman. Where's Bernie? Bernie Hayes. Diana Hanson. Let me tell you, Diana put all this stuff together. She is a workhorse and a terrific leader. Keith Hunter. Come on, he's the guy with the big microphone in his head. Rena Anderson. Coretta Rosendahl. I'll try and introduce myself, but that would be silly. Lisa Smith. And Jeff Pitts back there standing up is the Director of Legislative Affairs. Now, we also have a good friend here, Tamara Scott, the National Committee Woman of the Republican Party. Tamara, where are you? There you are. And I think Brad Zahn is here. We all know Brad, but Brad has got a new job. There he is. Brad is the regional administrator of the Small Business Administration. So that's a pretty good deal. Now, we're going to have a video. But the video is kind of a strange thing today. We've got a fantastic governor, powerful, decisive, largest tax cut in history, 2 heartbeat bills signed, largest budget surplus in Iowa history. Our good friend, Kim Reynolds, and we have a video.
As you probably heard, I announced yesterday that I won't be seeking a 3rd term. It wasn't an easy decision, but after a lot of prayer and talking with my family, I know it's the right one. I also know I wouldn't be here today without the support of so many of you in this room. To the Iowa Faith and Freedom Coalition and everyone here tonight, thank you. You've been with me since the beginning, praying for us, fighting alongside of us, and never wavering in your commitment to our cause. For the last 8 years, we've taken on the tough fights, pushed big reforms, and delivered real results. I'm deeply grateful for the trust that you've placed in me, and I'm proud of what we've accomplished together. We reduced the size of government and cut taxes 5 times, ended the tax on retirement income and inheritance, and passed a flat, fair 3.8% income tax, taking us from one of the highest tax rates in the country to one of the lowest. We backed law enforcement, ended sanctuary cities, and stood up to the federal government under the Biden administration that refused to do its job. And even when it was tough, we didn't waver. When blue states were shutting down people's lives, we knew that keeping our economy open and giving Iowans the freedom to make their own choices was the right way to respond. We protected kids and we empowered parents, reopened schools, banned mask mandates, secured educational freedom, defended girls' sports, and stopped radical gender ideology in our classrooms. And of course, we protected life, enacting the heartbeat bill twice and finally succeeding at the Iowa Supreme Court. This is what conservative leadership looks like, and we're not done yet. I'll keep fighting beside you and the Trump administration every day to finish the job, and I know our party is ready to lead into the future. Thank you for your prayers, thank you for your friendship and your support. God bless you, and God bless the great state of Iowa.
We have been, and will continue to be till the end of her term, we've been very, very lucky to have a terrific governor. Now, we have a terrific congressman, one of our 4 here in Iowa, Marionette Miller Meeks. Now, she came from a family that wasn't rich, wasn't showered with money. She joined the military, and this is very unusual if you think about it. She went from private to lieutenant colonel. That's pretty difficult to do. Some think it's almost impossible, but she did it. Then she went from nurse to doctor. That's pretty difficult too. Not only doctor, but a doctor of ophthalmology. Some of us don't even know what that is. But if you can see me and I can see you, you probably have a pretty good hint as to what it is. She can get inside your eye and fix it. That's pretty good. But that's what she did as a state senator, and that's what she's doing as a member of Congress, Marionette Miller Meeks.
Well, it's kind of a bittersweet moment. Usually I hate to follow anybody who speaks, but I was already a little bit remorseful that I was going to follow Governor Kim Reynolds, but I'm sorry that she's not here. Sorry for the news. In my lifetime, and I've had some great governors when it was growing up in Texas and then moving to Iowa, and Iowa's had some great governors. But Lieutenant Governor Kim Reynolds was the best governor of the country and the best governor Iowa has ever had, bar none. And she will be missed, but as she said, we're just getting started and we're not done yet. You know, G.K. Chesterton said, fairy tales don't tell children that dragons exist. Fairy tales tell children that dragons can be slayed. We were told that Donald Trump would not get reelected. We slayed that dragon. We were told that it's okay to kill a child in the room because it's a choice. We slayed that dragon. We were told that boys can play in girls' sports because it's fair. We slayed that dragon. And we were told that men can be women just because they say they are. We've got another think coming for them. We've slayed that dragon, and we're going to continue one after another until every single one of those woke dominoes fall. And as David Barker said, when you're knocking down dominoes and you're taking down giants, there's a little disruption that happens along the way. It's a little uncomfortable. And you know you're over the target when they're in your district and they're protesting and they're doing fake town halls and they're sending money in. You know you're on the right path. You know you're going where God wants you to go, and we're going to keep going and keep charging until David slays another Goliath, and that is the behemoth of the federal government that is taking away our rights and liberties. Those rights and liberties enshrined in our Constitution are not given to us by government. They are given to us by God. And the reason why the left and the woke is fighting you so hard is because they know if we do not have a moral core, that then there is no God and the government is God. The government will never be my God, nor will it be your God. So you pray with us, you hold us in your hearts. When you go to church, you pray for the wisdom and the grace and the humility of your leaders, and we will take that with us to Des Moines or to D.C., and we will fight your battles for you and be your voice. But we are going to continue on this track. We're not going to stop. We are not going to let down. We are undeterred, undefeated, and we will be unstoppable. God bless you. God bless Iowa. God bless the great United States of America.
Dynamite. Okay. Senator Chuck Grassley. Well, I am honored to be the chairman and managing director of Grassley's campaign, and we have over here Bud Hockenberg, who's the president of the campaign. Stand up, Bud. And we've both been around since 1980, so we're getting a little old, but the fire seems to still be there. Grassley is always a solid conservative, solid Christian, chairman of the Judiciary Committee. He makes a very, very powerful difference. Let's see what comes on the screen.
We're nearing the 100th day of President Trump's second term in the White House. Trump was reelected in a very historic, resounding comeback victory. Thanks to patriots here in this very room, this very night, you helped make it really happen. Iowa elected Trump by a 14-point margin. He's the first Republican to win the popular vote in 2 decades. He won the Electoral College in a landslide, including the 7 swing states. Now that surely is called a mandate. Trump's hit the White House like a hurricane. He's leaving no stone unturned to restore power to the people. He's fighting for you as if his life depended on it. As we all know, that nearly cost his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. Thanks to the grace of God, he's our president. Let me count some of the ways that President Trump is keeping his promises in these first 100 days. He secured our border. He's deporting dangerous criminals to make our streets safer. As he said in his State of the Union message, all it took was to have a new president. With a Republican Congress, Trump will extend the 2017 tax cuts so you can keep more of your money. He's fighting to bring back America's manufacturing. If his approach works, I'll say amen. If they don't work, I'll say I told you so. In the meantime, I'm keeping a close eye on how tariffs impact Iowa, particularly the family farmer. Our president is fighting against all odds. He's fighting the legacy media and unhinged leftists vandalizing Teslas. He's fighting lower courts that are going outside their lane to block his agenda. President Trump is fighting to save America. He's fighting for you, all of us. I'm asking you to also speak up. Some say you should never talk about politics or religion. I really disagree with that. Talk to your neighbors and stand up for what you believe, whether it's belief in God or belief in America. Be defenders of our economic freedoms, religious liberty, and patriotism. Take pride in who we are. Wear our values and love for America as a badge of honor. Right now, the liberal point of view is drowning out the principles of limited government that you and I hold very dear. Through organized protests and mail campaigns, you would think Trump doesn't have any supporters in Iowa. And of course, we know that's not true. I encourage you to sing President Trump's praises and not be intimidated by anyone. Last month, I started my annual 99 county meetings. You may have seen I had a lot of anti-Trump attendees. I'm not going to stop having face-to-face dialogue with Iowans. That's the essence of representative government. If you can come to one of my meetings, I hope you'll speak up and speak up loud. Thank you.
That's very important. You know, if you go to these meetings with the governor or Senator Grassley or Senator Ernst or any of them, Sometimes the Republicans just sit there and the opposition screams and hollers. But it's pretty important for our side to speak up at those things. Bud, who is our president, he wanted me to announce that Iowans Supporting Israel, an organization that he has a lot to do with, is having a meeting on April 17th up near the Capitol. And they bring people in that know a lot about what's going on in Israel. And I think you all see that there's a lot of trouble over there and a lot of progress being made, but those things are well worth attending. And so if you just look up Iowans Supporting Israel on the internet, I think you can find it, and it'd be well worth your while, anybody that wanted to attend. Now, we have another senator, Joni Ernst, a leader in the Senate from the start. Joni is a leader of the DOGE, the Dodge. I guess that's how you pronounce it, the Dodge or Doge caucus. In any event, they're trying to tear apart the things that we don't need in government. And she's the leader in the Senate on that project. It's a pretty important one, and it's on the news all the time. And Joni is a big deal in trying to reduce the inappropriate size of government. Things like defunding Planned Parenthood and all those weird things. Lieutenant Colonel in the Army, served in Kuwait, Montgomery County Auditor, State Senator, U.S. Senator. The left wing, and I think this is a pretty good recommendation, the left wing Americans for Democratic Action rates Joni at 0. Enough said? Joni Ernst.
Hello and good evening, Iowa Faith and Freedom Coalition. I want to start by thanking each of you for all you do to fight for the values and principles we hold most dear. I'm proud to say that because of the hard work and dedication of patriots like you, Donald J. Trump is in the White House. Republicans have control of both the House and Senate, and America is back. In Iowa and all across our great United States, folks voted for America First policies. We voted for secure borders, peace through strength, and a less wasteful and more accountable federal government. And folks, we voted for life. As I've said before, and I'll say it again, because of the pro-life movement and the Trump presidency, the abortion issue has been returned to the American people and their elected representatives, where it belongs. In Iowa, we're blessed to have such great leaders like Governor Kim Reynolds and Republican legislators who have fought for life at every turn, and I couldn't be more proud. But the fight doesn't stop there. That's why I've recently introduced a bill to prohibit your hard-earned tax dollars from funding Planned Parenthood. Not one more dime of your money should go to fund abortions or abortion services. Just last month, I went to watch our high school girls compete in the 4A basketball tournament in Des Moines. Each team played so well and left it all on the court. I was so proud of them. But it was a stark reminder of how important it is to protect girls' sports and ensure a level playing field for our young women. Thankfully, in our state, Governor Kim Reynolds took swift action to protect girls' sports. And now, with President Trump's executive order on Title IX, the days of pandering to the far left and redefining womanhood to include biological males are over. In the Senate, we voted to codify these protections for women and girls, but the Democrats blocked the bill. It is extremely sad that Chuck Schumer and his party won't defend our daughters. As many of you know, I've been fighting tooth and nail to pass Sarah's Law for the better part of 10 years. I knew when I heard the news of Sarah's tragic death, something needed to be done to protect innocent Americans from violent crime perpetrated by illegal aliens. After years of being stonewalled by the Senate Democrats and the Biden administration, things have moved fast under President Trump's leadership. Today, I'm proud to report that not only was Sarah's law been included in the Laken-Riley Act and signed into law by President Trump, but Sarah's killer has been apprehended and extradited back to American soil to face justice for his horrendous actions. This could only happen under Donald Trump, with his great Secretary of State Marco Rubio and DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Because of our partnership and this administration's bold leadership, Sarah Root has not been forgotten, and her family will finally see justice. Folks, I'm so proud and honored to serve as your United States Senator. Since you first elected me to the Senate, I've been making Washington squeal. And now I have a partner in the Trump administration and the Department of Government Efficiency. Earlier this year, I created the Senate DOJ Caucus, where I serve as chair. Alongside Elon Musk and Donald Trump, we are fighting to make Washington more accountable to you, the taxpayer. We are snuffing out the waste, fraud, and abuse within our federal agencies. Because of DOJ, Washington bureaucrats have been put on notice. You serve the American people, not the other way around. I know it's ruffling some feathers, or as I like to say, making the big spenders squeal. But that's what Iowans elected me to do, and change is needed to shake up the swamp. To my dear friends at Faith and Freedom, keep the faith, stay in the fight, and never give up. Together with your help, we are ushering in the golden age of America. Thank you. May God bless you all. And may God bless these great United States of America.
Thank you, Joni. She's great. Now, you've heard of Jeff Kaufman. He's a very quiet speaker, so you'll have to listen very carefully. Chairman of the Republican Party of Iowa. I was once the chairman of the Republican Party of Iowa, so I think I'm qualified to say we are very, very lucky to have one of the all-time great chairman, Jeff Kaufman.
I do have a few things to say tonight. I'm going to be calm though. I was doing meditation all the way up. I was keeping my eyes on the road, don't worry. Doing meditation all the way up, deep breathing and everything. I'm just going to be very quiet and professorial. I'm a professor by trade, and I don't get that fired up in class unless they try to cheat. But I seriously tonight, I wanted to come up here to say a few things. First of all, first and foremost, is thank you. The Republican Party, as opposed to the Democratic Party, we're the grassroots party. We're bottom up. It's that clear. Donald Trump is evidence number one that we are bottom up. There's no other evidence that's needed. He is our president because he won the caucuses, because he's won Iowa, and because you all chose him. Certainly there were people that did not necessarily approve of that back in 2016, but you know what? They were proven wrong, and the ones that's got an IQ about them will actually admit that, to be real honest with you. I'll never forget in Muscatine, Iowa in 2015, I was the chair. He was just starting to get just a little bit of momentum. And I remember he was out there watching, and I stood up as the Republican chair, and I said, if Donald Trump wins the caucuses, the Republican Party of Iowa is not going to support Donald Trump 100%. Then I paused, and then I shouted at the top of my lungs, as I usually do, we are going to support Donald Trump as our nominee 1,000%, because that's what parties do. We listen to the grassroots, and then we listen to the primary, and then we get behind the winner of the primary. That's how we win. That's why Iowa's red, and that's what we will continue to do. And I so appreciate Faith and Freedom and Steve Scheffler. I give Steve a hard time. Steve did wonderful work in the Thomas Dewey campaign in the 1940s. He was also a key factor in the Eisenhower campaign of the 1950s. But you know, he's still fresh today. I know some of you are doing the math in your head. I might be stretching things a little bit. But seriously, Steve has kept this organization fresh. This organization listens, and then they react. And I can tell you, in terms of what Faith and Freedom does in the field, where it really matters in September and October, they don't pontificate. They go out and they grab votes for in this case, the most conservative Christian candidates. In my case, to make Iowa red again, because we almost always take that prize. And I will say this much, we've got a special guest in here. I'm not very good at sucking up to people. Okay, I'm kind of just, I am what I am, and you don't like it, if there's a waste back, there's where you put your comments. But I got somebody here tonight. I need some help from all of you in sucking up, because the RNC chair, Michael Whatley, is here tonight. And Michael Whatley is a strong supporter, and you're going to hear from him later on. And this is blatant, Chairman Whatley, very, very blatant. And I promise that I'm not going to mention first in the nation. I'm not going to pressure you in terms of Iowa remaining first in the nation. And I'm not going to remind you that even though it was 30 degrees below zero last year, we brought off a world-class transparent caucus, and we'd love to do it again. We want to do it again. But Chairman, I'm not going to do any of that. That would be Bush League. It would be unprofessional, and there is no way I would ever put you on the spot like that in a wonderful, boisterous crowd of conservative Republicans. I won't do it. That's my promise to you, Mr. Chairman. Do I want to keep Iowa first, or are you saying you do? Do we want to keep Iowa first? Louder! Folks, this is the chairman of the Republican Party of Iowa. We need to be first. I'm going to ask the question again. Could I get a little cooperation outside your comfort zone? Do we want to keep Iowa first? There we are. He's right back there, everybody. Thank you very much. Chairman, thanks for asking that question. And again, I promise you not to put you in an awkward position here tonight. I want to, I just want to thank you for everything you've done. We have got such a deep bench in this party. We have got so many visionary leaders in this party. And by the way, you legislators, I want to tell you something. I know you're not out of session yet, but what you have done the last decade and what you are doing right now is profiles and courage. Thank you to all the legislators. We are proud of you. And look what the Democrats have. They handed away first in the nation because some organic turnip farmers in Nutland, aka Johnson County, decided they didn't care about first in the nation. What happened in that case? They gave it away. They absolutely sold out their state, all for a few California and New York elites. What did we do? We absolutely carried off a wonderful caucus, and we are going to do everything we can to keep that again. The Democrats have a shallow bench. Look who they've got. Let's see, there's, I got it on a list here. There's Rob Sand. Yeah, Rob Sand is to public policy what the Des Moines Register is to presidential polling. And yes, I realize they're back there. But no, I mean, they've got Rob Sand. Here's Rob Sand's plan, by the way, for running for governor. He raised $7 million. Wow, you know what you're not told? And I can better believe if it was a Republican, it'd be told every single minute. You know how much of that $7 million came from his in-laws? $6 million of it. That's pitiful. Rob Sand is pitiful. He's an auditor wannabe masquerading in charge of an Iowan. It's just, I couldn't ask for a more wonderful situation. That's all they got. Did I mention Rob Sand? Yeah, they got Rob Sand, who got $6 million from his wife's parents, are hoping that someday he maybe makes it in the real world. That's basically what they've got. We are on a roll. We are absolutely on a roll. And we are going to absolutely go to heights unknown because of this president, that we took the lead. And I want to end tonight, and I want to be fired up. I want Michael Whatley to travel all the way to North Carolina knowing that we are red, but we are hungry. And I want to end, I had the honor of my life in Milwaukee to nominate President Trump. And I want to end this speech exactly how I ended that speech. There was just a few more thousand people that I was speaking in front of. And I was a little bit more mellow because they told me I had to. Also, they put an IV in me with some Prozac, so I was a little mellow. Not too much, so I stuck in some Mountain Dew. But the bottom line is this at the end. Together, our state legislature, our governor, our statewide officials, our federal officials, together, we are going to make America wealthy again. We are going to make America safe again. We are going to make America strong again, and let's all say it together. I want the media to go back and say they love Donald Trump. Together, everybody say it with me. We are going to make America great again. Let's go. Let's do it.
I know this would surprise you, but Kaufman whispered in my ear a while back, first in the nation. Okay, Keith Hunter. Keith Hunter is the Iowa Faith and Freedom Coalition treasurer. That's pretty important because we got to pay for all these places and all the stuff that you do and the organization does. And so he's going to talk to you a little bit about that kind of stuff, and then he's going to introduce a great guy, John Harbison, from the national organization. So, Keith Hunter.
I'm going to talk to Scheffler. I don't know what short straw I drew to have to go after Kaufman, but I mean, geez. No respect, I swear. This is a great looking crowd, folks. It was about 26 years ago that Steve Scheffler got about 4 of us together at a Village Inn restaurant up in Johnston, Iowa, and pitched some half harebrained idea about maybe getting the coalition back together again. We started with about $60 and a couple pieces of office furniture, and now look at us. I remember when we used to draw about 50 to 75 people in a lobby of a Bible store, and we were happy for it. And now we're drawing probably more people at this event than we did in our first fall event ever. There's 2 reasons why we are this successful. The first one is sitting in front of me. All these wonderful, beautiful faces. We couldn't do what we do without your support. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for it. You should give yourselves a round of applause, really. So, the other great move we made was when the time came, we partnered with a national organization. Ralph Reed came knocking and said, we'd love to have you, and we said, we'd love to have you. And it was just a fit that we don't even look back on. It just seems like it's always been there. We have a representative of the national organization. He is the group's director of voter education, and he is a friend of mine now. And I want to let you know, he's from Alabama. He talks funny, okay? And he thinks football was created in the SEC. But in spite of that, he's a really great guy. So let's give a good Iowa welcome to John Harbison.
Thank you, Keith. Yeah, I may sound like syrup moving through a bottle compared to Kaufman, but I think you hopefully can understand me. Scheffler has a lot of trouble sometimes, but I have to put up with him a couple times a year. On behalf of Ralph Reed, our chairman, and my boss, I want to thank you for being here. Ralph was unable to come tonight. His travel schedule is just crazy right now. He just got back from a trip from Israel, and he was unable to be here, but he wanted me to send his welcome to you as well. And thank you for being here tonight. And it's a little bit historical for me as well tonight. So 10 years ago, in April of 2015, was my first Iowa FFC event. We had a presidential forum over in Whatley. Who was there at that event in April of 2015? Raise your hands. I know there's got to be some folks here. Yeah, there's folks all over. So thank you. You've been with us at least 10 years. That's a lot of water under the bridge. You know, when we had that event in April of 2015, a man that's a businessman in New York City named Donald J. Trump had not ridden down an escalator yet. You know, we had no idea what was coming and the history that was being made in the future and has been made in these last 10 years. So thank you for being here and being with us. Speaking of history, this past election cycle, Faith and Freedom across the country, we broke records that 10 years ago we didn't think were possible. Across the country, we were over 9.5 million home visits to voters in swing states and states that we determine are important, different congressional races, governor races, that type of thing. Here in Iowa, we hit 199,983 homes. Thank you. We cannot do that without you. And I want to name a few people. Charlie Johnson, who helps manage the doors with us. Representative Devin Wood, I know she's here. Thank you. She helps us make sure we get all of our payroll in and all the I's are crossed and the T's are dotted and backwards. I said that backwards, but anyway. If you turn into our payroll that way, our canvassers know. We'll probably send it back to you and say that's not right. So we're pretty strict on our audit trail. So, but thank you for what you did this cycle here in Iowa. We were over, Mr. Chairman, we were able to make 554,000 voter contacts in this state alone. Now, we left it all in the field. When you look at our budgets, our state budgets, we spent everything we could in 24. 26 is coming. Now is the time to build the war chest for 26. We don't know what 26 is going to look like. Historically, and I'm a political director. I do this for a living. You can look at trends. You can speculate. You can say, okay, midterms are rough for the presidential party that won power, you know, yada, yada, yada. But throw that all out. If we motivate our voters, if we get the grassroots to go out and vote early and have a plan to vote, 26 won't be a problem. So we need your help, and it starts tonight. One thing you can do is Generous Joe's has been so grateful, and we're so grateful for them with the coffee tonight, but also they're selling coffee back there. And for every bag of coffee that you buy, Iowa FFC will receive all the profit from tonight. So make sure as you leave tonight that you buy a bag of coffee and you help Iowa Faith and Freedom Coalition. All that money stays here in state. It does not go back with me to Atlanta, Georgia. And also tonight, you've got buckets on your, Steve and I go way back on this thing. He calls these buckets on your table. I call them a flower pot on your table, but whatever they are, you've got these clear little vessels on your table that have envelopes in them. Steve said that I needed to, I said, Steve, the people are not going to like this, but he said, look, you need to tell them that they've got to give, they need to cancel the Disney trip, give to Iowa FFC. I said, I'm not going to do that. I said, I will, if you need me to. I can be like that. I don't know if you saw the viral video of that church pastor the other day that told the ushers to lock the doors. We're not going to tell them to lock the doors tonight until we raise enough money to get me back to Atlanta. But we're going to, what we are going to do is National FFC is going to match everything that comes in a bucket tonight. I talked to Ralph. We're going to do it times 2. We've got some donors lined up. So if y'all raise $10,000 tonight, we're going to write a check for $20,000. And we're going to put it in Iowa FFC. So give tonight, give cheerfully, buy some coffee as you're going out. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't think I did. I think I got everything. Oh, I do have something. So nationally, and I know several of you have gone, and we do scholarships and things like that for young Republicans and different young conservatives from Iowa. But nationally, I want to invite you all. if you enjoy events like this, our annual Road to Majority Policy Conference is coming up June 26th through the 28th in Washington. Go to our website, ffcoalition.com, get your tickets today. Contact me here before I leave. I'll get you free tickets. I've got tickets I can give you for free. We just want you to be there. It's power-packed from Thursday to Saturday. We've invited the president, we've invited the vice president, the entire cabinet. Of course, it's way too early for them to do a confirmation yet, but we have had him every time we've invited him. So fingers are crossed, and we're praying that it works out and nobody kicks any sand in the Middle East and he can't come over and visit with us that day. But it will be just 3 days of intense gathering, networking with grassroots folks, hearing great speeches and messages, learning new ways that we're going to reach out to voters coming up in the 2026 midterms. So thank you again for all you do. Please take time. And also, if you want to give with a credit card, Keith will be in the back of the room. We can swap a credit card. You can max that thing out tonight. We can help you. So give tonight, and we'll match it times 2. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Okay, now we have an Attorney General. If you think about a tornado, I'll give you a pretty good idea of what she's like. Not personally, she's a great person personally. But if you're on the wrong side of the law, you do not want to be in that tornado. Long experience as Congressman Steve King's chief of staff, county attorney in Fremont County, Audubon County, Guthrie County. That's quite a record. Keep them straight is tough. Defeated Tom Miller. Now, Tom Miller had been Attorney General for 10 terms, and she wiped him out. That's a big deal. So Brenna's going to tell us what's going on now, and I have a feeling we'll hear more from her later. Brenna Bird.
Well, thank you, Kane. It's so good to be here. Kane, though, you left off my most important jobs, okay? Job number 1, being Bob's wife, which is not a hard one. He's great to be married to, Bob, my husband. And number 2, mom to Beckett, and then Attorney General comes in 3rd. So I love my family, and I'm so glad they're with me here today. Yep, and I got to tell you, we've been having a good day as a family. We got to go see monster trucks earlier today, and I don't know if you know what those are, but no matter how old you are, it never gets old. We had a lot of fun earlier today watching monster trucks do what they do. And, it's so special to get to be here with you, too. And, Steve, I have to say, I think this is a record crowd. I don't think we have had this many people. I mean, this is amazing. Seeing all of you here, it's amazing. I'm so excited. And I see so many friends here, so many friends. And when I see you, this is what comes to me. I just think, with your help, we defeated the longest serving Attorney General in U.S. history, and I couldn't have done it without you. And we don't back down from a fight either, do we? We don't. And, our governor, she doesn't back down from a fight either. And I am so proud, we are all so proud to have the best governor in the country as our governor right here in Iowa. And she's been transformative, and we don't like to think about COVID because it seems like it was so long ago, but she led us through COVID. She enacted the largest tax cuts in Iowa history. She reformed our education system, stood strong for life, defending our freedoms. And she made Iowa and continues to make Iowa an even better place to call home. And we are so thankful to Governor Reynolds and to her family for her service to our state. And I think about this when I think about Governor Reynolds, and you've probably heard me say this before, but I'm reminded of the book of Ruth. She was raised up for a time such as this, wasn't she? A real blessing to our state. And we are blessed to live in Iowa where faith and freedom still flourish. We are so blessed. And, in Iowa, we protect innocent human life, don't we? We do. We stand for life. And I was so glad to get to go to court as your Attorney General to defend our heartbeat law and win. We know nothing is more precious than the right to life. We know that as moms and dads, and we know that as Iowans. And I also, sued Biden a few times, didn't we? We had to sue him a couple of times to stop what he was doing, to stop his unconstitutional actions, his illegal actions. One of them I'm going to highlight. We sued him under the Title IX lawsuit to keep him from forcing that radical gender ideology into our Iowa schools. Because here in Iowa, we protected our girls and women in school, didn't we? We made sure that girls' teams were for girls bathrooms and locker rooms are for girls, protecting girls' sports. But the federal government was going to force men into girls' locker rooms, and we stood against that. We sued and we defended the laws that we have as a state, and I'm proud of our legislature and what they have done, lighting the way to show America what it looks like. And, we won those fights, and I'm sure glad we did, but they're never going to be over, are they? We have to keep on fighting. And I was so glad to get to be there in the White House with President Trump the day that he signed that executive order to make sure that women and girls across the country had the same freedom that we have right here in Iowa. It was a proud moment. And as Attorney General, I just sued not too long ago to keep a parent out of the wrong bathroom right here in Iowa in one of our schools. You know what, though? We filed the suit one day. The next day, guess what happened? We won. The ACLU and the other side dismissed it all. So that's a victory. Usually they're not that fast, but I'll tell you what, we'll take it, won't we? We'll take it. And I'm glad that we have a Farm and Freedom Division in our Attorney General's office where we've been fighting for jobs, for farmers, for our renewable fuels, for small business. Very thankful as we're defending our laws. And with President Trump at the helm, we're all a lot safer. We know that. He's taken on the drug cartels, and that is something that is close to my heart as a prosecutor when I see what illegal drugs pouring across our borders due to Iowans and due to people all over the country. He has taken on the cartels who poison our country with fentanyl, the leading cause of death for our young people. He's taken them on, and he's also taken on the human traffickers, and there's nothing more vile than human trafficking, is there? We're seeing some real progress and some real change, and here in Iowa, we stand behind him. We stand with